Honestly, this is starting to sound less like religion and more like a masterclass in intentional living. You're not just breaking rules, you're breaking awareness.
Yes, and I haven't even gotten to the second list from the Varana Purana yet, which is even more specific.
What if your devotion, your prayers, your love for the divine were being rejected, not because of your intent, but because of your ignorance? Most of us enter temples, churches, or sacred spaces seeking peace, healing, or some divine connection. But what if the way you walk in, sit down, or even speak could unknowingly become an offense? And more importantly, what if these unspoken mistakes were holding you back spiritually, emotionally, and even mentally without you realizing? Before you dive in, I invite you, yes, you, to pause. Slow down, take a deep breath, maybe grab a warm cuppa, sit comfortably, and let your guard down. This isn't a sermon, it's a mirror, and what you'll hear might shift how you view your spiritual practice forever. This isn't just another video, it's an essential wake-up call. We're peeling back the forgotten pages of ancient Vedic wisdom to uncover why certain mistakes in temple conduct or chanting can block not only divine reciprocation, but also inner peace. If you've ever wondered why your devotion doesn't feel enough, or why sometimes, despite doing all the right things, you still feel stuck, then this conversation is meant for you. We're not here to shame, we're here to illuminate. In this brutally honest, yet deeply compassionate episode, Arjun and Maya, both corporate professionals from the UK, unpack a sacred list of 32 offenses most people have no idea they're committing. What you're about to hear might be uncomfortable, even challenging, but by the end, it could transform how you see God, yourself, and the space between the two. This might just be the most important conversation you've never had. Stay with us till the end. It's worth every word.
You know, Maya, I was reading this ancient text last night. Don't ask me why, I just fell down one of those rabbit holes after a late meeting, and I came across something that made me stop in my tracks. 32 very specific offenses in worship. Not in the sense of punishment, but in the sense of all the tiny ways you can disrespect something sacred without even realizing.
32? That sounds excessive. Like, is this one of those lists where they're just being strict for the sake of it? Because honestly, in our world, we barely manage to respect lunch breaks, let alone some sacred checklist.
That's exactly what I thought at first. But here's the thing. As I read through it, I realized it wasn't just about religion. It's more like a framework for awareness. Every single rule is a way of saying your attention to detail shows your respect. And we're not just talking about temples. It's about how you show up anywhere that matters.
So you're telling me it's not just don't wear shoes inside and wash your hands?
Well, those are in there, yes. For example, number 1, don't enter the temple in a car, palanquin, or with shoes on. Now, in corporate life, that's like saying, don't walk into a high-stakes board meeting chewing gum and scrolling your phone. It's not about the object itself, it's about the mental state it reflects.
Okay, that's actually relatable. We do judge people on those small behaviors.
Exactly. And then there's one about not failing to observe festivals like Janmashtami or Ratha Yatra, which is really about honoring significant moments. In the office, think about how we celebrate promotions or end-of-year wins. Skip those, and you kill morale. Spiritually, skipping those festivals is like saying the milestones of your belief system aren't worth marking.
So it's about presence and marking what's important? But aren't some of these just ancient hygiene rules, like washing your hands after eating?
Sure, but hygiene is respect, too. They say you shouldn't enter without washing your hands and feet after eating. Think about it. If you went to shake hands with a CEO after wolfing down a tuna sandwich without washing up, you'd feel wrong about it. It's the same logic.
I see where this is going. It's not about superstition, it's about intentionality.
Right. But some go deeper. For example, don't bow down on one hand. At first I laughed, like, who's half bowing? But it's symbolic. Half gestures send half messages. It's like saying cheers to a colleague while keeping your headphones in. You're technically polite, but emotionally absent.
Wow, that's actually brutal, but true.
Then there's the rule about not circumambulating, walking in a circle, in front of the deity. You have to go around from the right side in a specific order. It's structure, ritual. And think about how in corporate processes, you don't just skip steps because you feel like it. It's about respecting the system, even if you think it's old-fashioned.
I can imagine people rolling their eyes at that, but then I think about how annoyed we get when someone jumps ahead in a queue at Pret.
Exactly. Respect for order is universal. And some are about posture. Don't spread your legs before the deity. Don't sit holding your ankles or knees. Don't lie down in front of the deity. All physical cues. Body language is half the communication. If you slouch in a performance review, it says something. If you lie down mid-conversation with your boss, well, that's career suicide.
Unless you're trying to get fired.
True, but these rules are like micro-reminders that respect is physical as much as it is mental. Then there's one about don't speak a lie before the deity. It sounds obvious, but it's also a mental safeguard, the idea that there's no space for dishonesty in the sacred.
Okay, but wouldn't that apply anywhere?
It should, but we all know that temptation to twist the truth is strongest where stakes are high, whether it's in front of God or your boss.
So they're basically coding integrity into the system.
Exactly. And you'll love this one. Don't quarrel or fight before the deity. Now, in the workplace, it's the same. You don't have blazing arguments in front of the client. You might disagree, but you step outside, handle it privately.
But what about don't talk loudly? Because that one feels very British, like keep your voice down, we're not at the pub.
Yes, and don't cry or howl, because uncontrolled emotional outbursts in sacred or professional spaces can shift the energy for everyone.
Although, I've definitely wanted to cry during some project updates.
Same. Then there's a big one. Don't fail to worship according to your means. This one got me. It's saying, if you can afford to do something properly, do it properly. Don't skimp for God and splurge for yourself.
That's uncomfortable because it hits modern life hard. We'll drop 200 pounds on a night out, but donate spare change to something that supposedly matters to us.
Exactly. And that's why I think these rules survive, because they expose double standards.
Okay, but what about food rules?
Oh, loads of them. Don't eat anything not offered first. Don't skip seasonal offerings. Don't let anyone eat until it's been offered. The corporate version, don't take credit for work before acknowledging the source.
Now that's a translation I get.
And don't sit with your back to the deity, which is pure symbolism. Don't turn your back on what matters. Even physically, turning your back is a sign of disinterest or dismissal.
So basically, if you break these, you're not just breaking rules, you're breaking awareness.
Yes, and I haven't even gotten to the second list from the Varana Purana yet, which is even more specific.
This is going to be a long coffee break.
Buckle in, it gets intense.
All right then, hit me with this second list. But I'm warning you, if it's 30 more rules about shoes, I might need another coffee.
It's not just shoes. This second list is sharper, more surgical. It's like they went, right, now that you got the basics, let's test how serious you actually are.
Sounds like compliance training.
Exactly. And the first one, don't touch the deity in a dark room. That's not just physical light, it's symbolic. Don't engage in something sacred when you can't see clearly. In modern life, don't sign contracts when you're emotionally or mentally in the dark.
Ah, so it's about clarity before action. I can think of about 10 times at work I wish I'd followed that.
Then don't fail to strictly follow the rules and regulations in worshiping, which basically says no cutting corners. And in the office, if you start skipping the boring compliance stuff, you erode the trust the whole system is built on.
Which is ironic because we're all guilty of that in small ways.
Next one's interesting. Don't enter without making some sound. It's about announcing your presence. Spiritually, it's like saying, I'm here and I'm coming with respect. In our world, you wouldn't walk silently into someone's office and startle them while they're deep in work. You give a knock, you say morning.
It's literally just basic courtesy dressed up in poetry.
Exactly. And then don't offer food that's been seen by dogs or lower animals. On the surface, it sounds elitist, but it's about maintaining purity in what you present. Translate that to a corporate pitch. You wouldn't hand a client a rumpled, coffee-stained proposal.
That's an image I didn't need, but yes.
Don't break silence while worshiping, which is about focus. If you're in a sacred act, you stay fully in it. Same in work. When you're in deep strategy mode, you don't just start scrolling Instagram.
So it's all training the discipline muscle.
Exactly. Here's one that made me laugh. Don't pass urine or evacuate while engaged in worship. I mean, fair enough, but deeper meaning, you don't interrupt something important for base distractions. If you're presenting to senior leadership, you don't step out mid-sentence to take a personal call.
Although with some of our meetings, I wouldn't mind the excuse.
Then there's don't offer incense without offering some flour. It's like saying don't give a token gesture without substance. In a corporate context, that's like giving someone a flashy presentation with no actual plan behind it.
So, fragrance plus beauty, style and substance together.
Exactly. And don't offer useless flowers without fragrance. That's a whole metaphor. Beauty without depth is hollow.
That one stings because social media trains us to value the opposite.
Yeah, and then don't fail to wash your teeth every day. Hygiene again. But also, preparation is respect. You wouldn't go into a pitch smelling like last night's curry.
Unless you're pitching to a curry house.
True. Now here's when that gets intense. Don't enter after sexual intercourse, and don't enter after touching a woman during her menstrual period. These can feel jarring to modern ears, but in their time, they linked physical purity to spiritual preparation. In corporate times, think of it as don't walk into a high-stakes negotiation straight after something that's left you emotionally unbalanced or physically disheveled.
So it's more about readiness than morality.
Exactly. Same for don't enter after touching a dead body or after visiting a crematorium. It's about emotional state management. You wouldn't go straight from a funeral into hosting a celebration dinner.
Yeah, that would be awkward.
Then don't be angry within the temple. Anger distorts presence. You can't connect, whether to God or to people, if you're vibrating with rage.
I wish more people followed that in the office.
Don't belch before the deity. Again, basic bodily control. It's about keeping the space free from casual disrespect. Same reason you wouldn't loudly slurp tea in a shareholder meeting.
Although in Britain, the tea thing might be forgivable.
True. Then there's a series of don'ts about intoxicants, marijuana, opium. Basically, don't approach sacred work clouded in mind. Corporate version? Don't send that all-company email after 3 pints.
Oh, I've seen careers end that way.
And this, don't touch the deity after smearing oil on your body, which is again about not transferring residue into the space. Think of it like don't walk into a white carpeted client home with muddy shoes.
Okay, that's clear.
Some are about intellectual integrity. Don't show disrespect to scripture. Don't introduce opposing scripture. In our world, it's like don't undermine the core values of your own company while representing it publicly.
Ouch. So that's basically half of LinkedIn gone.
Exactly. And don't chew betel before the deity or offer a flower from a dirty pot. The message is presentation matters. Even if your intention is pure, the vessel and the preparation show respect.
That one hits because we often think good intentions excuse sloppy execution.
Right. Then, don't sit on the bare floor to worship. You have a mat, a seat, it elevates the act. In corporate terms, don't show up to a high-value meeting in joggers and expect to be taken seriously.
Unless you work at a startup.
True, but even there, presentation codes exist. And finally, don't touch the deity before bathing. It's the ultimate in prepare yourself before you approach what matters.
So the thread running through all of these is discipline, respect, readiness.
Exactly. And they even add, don't offer food cooked by a non-devotee. Don't worship before a non-devotee. And always start by worshiping Ganapati, the remover of obstacles.
Which is like saying start every big project by clearing the roadblocks first.
Yes, and avoid things like stepping over offerings or taking vows in God's name casually. It's all about awareness in every movement.
Honestly, this is starting to sound less like religion and more like a masterclass in intentional living.
That's exactly why I think it's timeless. And we haven't even touched on the bit about chanting yet.
Okay, you've hooked me. Now tell me about this chanting part. You made it sound like it's the grand finale.
It is, because the whole thing builds to this idea. Even if you've messed up everything else, there's a reset button. They say, even if your life has been completely sinful, you can be protected if you surrender to the Supreme and chant the holy names, Hare Krishna, and so on.
So, the ultimate clean slate.
Pretty much. But, and here's the sting, there's a list of offenses that can make even that protection fail.
Ah, so you can still mess up the reset button.
Exactly. And the first offense is brutal, to blaspheme the devotees who dedicated their lives to spreading the name. In corporate terms, it's like undermining the very people who are trying to protect and grow the company's vision.
So it's a trust issue. You can't build a culture if you're tearing down its champions.
Exactly. Then there's to consider the names of demigods like Shiva or Brahma to be equal to the name of Vishnu. Now, this sounds like religious politics, but it's about clarity of source. You can respect other leaders, but don't confuse them with the ultimate authority in that context. In work, that's like knowing the difference between the CEO and the department head. You don't email the head of catering expecting them to approve a merger.
So it's about not misplacing your loyalty or your requests.
Right. Then, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. That's just, don't ignore the mentor who's guiding you. If you've got someone who's been there, done that, and they're steering you, willfully going against them is basically asking to get lost.
And I bet most people think they're the exception who knows better.
Always. Then, there's to blaspheme the Vedic literature, which is like, in modern terms, mocking the very playbook of the game you're trying to win.
That's interesting because we do that subtly all the time, making fun of the company values slide in the induction pack.
Exactly. And here's a big one. To consider the glories of chanting as imagination. That's cynicism. If you approach something with the attitude of, this won't work anyway, you've already killed its power.
That one feels uncomfortably close to home.
Yeah, same here. Then, to give some interpretation on the holy name, basically twisting the core message for your own spin. In our world, that's like taking a company mission statement and turning it into a personal brand pitch.
Guilty.
Another dangerous one is to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. This is the I can get away with it mentality. Spiritually, it's like thinking, I can do what I want because I can always apologize later. In corporate life, I'll bend the rules because I can talk my way out of it.
That's just arrogance dressed up as cleverness.
Exactly. Then, to consider chanting as just another ritual among many. That's dilution. If you treat your most powerful tool as just another checkbox, you won't get its full effect.
Like treating a crisis meeting as just another email. You miss the urgency.
Yes, and to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. It's about knowing your audience. If someone's not ready, dumping deep truths on them can actually make them more resistant.
That's actually very LinkedIn. Don't pitch complex transformation to someone who's only just asking about the basics.
Exactly. And the last one is heavy. To not have complete faith in chanting and to maintain material attachments even after knowing better. That's about divided loyalty. You can't commit to transformation while keeping one foot in the old habits.
So it's not just about saying the words, it's about aligning your actions with them.
Yes, because in the end, they're saying this isn't just sound. It's a whole shift in how you operate. And every one of these offenses is really a crack where the power leaks out.
You know what's wild? All of this started sounding like religious micromanagement, but now I'm seeing it as a complete philosophy for presence, respect, and awareness.
That's the exact transformation. We live in a world where distraction is normal, cutting corners is normal, and cynicism is normal. This whole framework, temple rules, worship rules, chanting rules, is like a masterclass in counterculture discipline.
And the fear factor is real, not fear as in punishment, but fear as in if I keep ignoring the small disciplines, I'll never touch the bigger truths.
That's it. The biggest loss isn't breaking a rule, it's missing the point. And once you see the point, you can't unsee it.
You've basically ruined my lazy habits now.
Good, that's the idea.
And I think that's why this conversation matters, because most people will never read those lists, never connect the dots, and never see how the ancient and the modern are talking about the same thing.
Which is why if even one person listens to this and goes, right, I'm going to bring more awareness into my actions, then we've done something worthwhile.
And maybe they'll think twice before slouching in a boardroom or skipping the boring bits of preparation.
Or letting cynicism become their default setting.
Exactly.
So, did you feel it? That shift in the air? That moment when something inside you whispered, this matters. That was the promise we made at the start. And if you've made it this far, you know now. It's been fulfilled. Now pause. Think of someone you love, someone who's been trying to find their spiritual footing. Maybe they chant, maybe they just feel lost. Send this episode to them. Sharing this could be the most powerful act of service you offer today. Next, scroll down to the comments and tell us what hit you hardest. Let this not be a video with a silence beneath it. Let it become a living archive of shared awakenings. Your voice belongs there. If this conversation lit a spark within you, don't just move on. Hit that like button, not for us, but for you, as a personal signal that you're choosing awareness over autopilot. And if you want to walk this path with others who care, who ask, who seek, then hit subscribe. This channel isn't content, it's community. and you're already one of us. This is your spiritual home online, and we're only just getting started.
Explore more reflections on love, surrender, and the divine. Watch the next video or subscribe for deeper journeys.
Love is not the end, it's the way.